Hello, this is part 3 of Microsoft Access tutorial. It's the continuation of part 1, and in this part we're going to continue working on the database design and fill it up with dummy data. So before we begin, I'd like to point out quickly that you probably should follow along with this tutorial. So in other words, open up Microsoft Access file and do the same steps as we're doing in this tutorial, so follow along. And also keep all the work saved, not on the computer that you are working on currently, unless it's your computer, of course, but rather keep all your work on the USB flash drive. Okay, so let's begin. This is where the first tutorial stopped. Reminder, what we're doing is we're creating a database that is capable of capturing details of my employees working on my clients, and also what kind of work they're doing and when this work is being performed. So there are 3 tables. In the previous part 1 tutorial, we created the table where we're going to keep all the information about our corporate clients. So today we're going to fill it up with dummy data and add 2 more tables and link them just like it's shown here on this ER diagram. So let's go back to Microsoft Access file. Alright, so we finished tutorial number 1 by designing the storage. Now let's fill it up with data. How do we do that? On the top of the Microsoft Access window, we have a button on the design ribbon. We have a button view. So if you click on this button, you will see that right now we're in the design view. So we're still creating the storage for our data. Well, I'm finished with this table. It's designed already. So now I'm going to switch over to the datasheet view, and it will show me all the columns that I have created. So let's create a couple of clients, dummy clients. So let's try to enter my first client ID. And as you can hear, as I press buttons, nothing happens really, and there is a sound going on, right? So that means that Microsoft Access does not allow me to enter anything in the field client ID. The reason for that is very simple. If we go back to the design view, if you remember, when we designed this table, we created client ID field to be auto number type. That means that Access takes care of numbering my records or inserting the primary key value automatically without taking any input from me. That's the reason why it doesn't take any numbers that I type. So let's start with client name. I'm going to make a little bit space here. All right, so suppose my first client name is ABC Limited Liability Company. Now where do they live? What's their address? Suppose they live at first 1 Main Street, okay, in the city of Newport News, and the state Virginia. Okay, so this sound again. So I cannot enter really more than two characters in this field, and the reason for that is very simple. Let me show you. If I switch back to the design view, the state, if you remember, we restricted the state to be of the size 2. So that means that as I type, no more than 2 characters are available. So therefore, I'm going to type the abbreviation VA. Zip code. As I click on this field, you can see that the zip code immediately shows me the template for entering the zip. Why is it happening? Again, let's go back to the design view and let's look at the zip field. Remember, for the zip column, we have created the input mask. We told Access that the only input that we should accept in the column zip should be 5 characters. All characters are supposed to be numeric, and also show the underscore every time when we are prompted to enter another value. So that's why when I click on the zip field, it shows me 5 underscores, and it will not take any characters other than numbers from me. So like right now I'm going to try to type alphabetic characters. Nothing happens. So I'm going to type 23606. That's the zip code. All right. And the phone number, again, it shows me the template because I put an input mask on the field phone number, and that's the form of this mask that I selected. So suppose the phone number here is 757 123 4567. Then I hit enter, and when I do so, you can see that immediately the focus shifts to the next line. That means that this data has been saved. Microsoft Access created the first record and saved it permanently into the storage, into this file. And you can see that I have actually a number 1 assigned to the client ABC. And it happened automatically because the field client ID, as we discussed just now, is an auto-numeric field. Well, let's create another one. So quickly I'm going to type XYZ Incorporated, and they live at the address 2 Side Street. They are located in, for example, Norfolk, Virginia, VA. The zip code, I don't know really zip codes out there, so I'm going to type something 25230, for example. And the phone number 757, and let's reverse this one, 7654321. And note that I already have number 2 showing up here, so I didn't do anything. Microsoft Access did everything for me. Again, I hit enter. Next line is being activated, so that means that line number 2 is committed to memory. It's recorded into the permanent storage. Okay. So let's continue. I'm going to close that table, and it says, do you want to save layout? I was changing some columns width as I was going through that, so yes, I want to keep it. All right, so what else do we have? Let's create the second table now. Employees, employee ID, first name, last name, social security number, position in the company, and the billing rate. Okay. So let's switch over. How do I create table? As you probably remember, we discussed in the previous part 1 of this tutorial that Access has 4 parts. It pretty much follows the same pattern as any generic information systems. There is input, processing, storage, and output. So let's go back to Access. Every time when I want to create something, I have to go to the tab Create. And here on the tab Create, you can see that all these 4 parts that we just discussed are present. Here is the group of tools for me to create tables. That's the storage. Here is the group of buttons that will help me to create queries. That refers to processing. Here is group of tools to create forms. That is input. And here is a bunch of tools to create reports. That's output. So 4 parts identified in any information system are present in Microsoft Access right there on the tab Create. So right now I'm still creating the storage, designing my tables, right? So I want to create another table. I click Create Table, and as you can see here in the navigational pane on the left side, in the group of objects tables, I still have my clients that I just finished working with, and now I have a generic table 1, right? And this is my design view, as you can see by clicking. No, it's actually my datasheet view, I'm sorry. So I want to design this table. I want to design this storage, right? So switch over to the design view, and immediately it tells me to give it a name. So I have table clients. I'll create table employees. Click OK, and the name is changed to employees on the left side. And here is a template. So first column, I'm going to call employee ID, not just as a generic ID. And just like in the previous case, in the previous table client, I'm going to call, I'm going to select the data type auto number. Now note that right next to the field name employee ID on the left side, this is a row selector. If I click on that, the entire row is getting selected. My row selector has a teeny tiny symbol of a key. So the very first column, as we discussed in class, typically is the primary key of the table. So that's my primary key, so I'm not going to change anything in this regard over here. Okay, my employees are all going to have last name. Which one do we want to go last? first, last name or first name? Well, let's do first name. First underscore name, capital N. All right, and that is going to be short text, obviously. Last name, last underscore name, that is also short text. Next field was social security number. So I'm going to type SSN. SSN, technically it's a number, but in a typical form how social security number is recorded, there are dashes, right? So I'm going to keep it as a short text, but again, I'm going to apply a mask to this field, just like before. So as I click in this line, input mask, the button shows up with 3 dots. So let's click on that one. Must save, yes. Okay, there is a template for me ready to use. Social security number, 3 numbers, dash 2 numbers, dash 4 numbers. I'm okay with that, so I'm going to just accept that as is. Then, what was the other column? Position in the company and the billing rate. Position, and that is a short text, and the billing rate. Billing underscore rate. Now, reminder what the billing rate is. Billing rate is how much money we as a company are charging our clients for 1 hour worth of work that our employees work on this specific client. For example, let's say if I'm just a consultant, then a company is going to charge $100 an hour for me. But if I'm a manager, which is a little bit higher in the company's organizational chart, then it's going to be $200 per hour. So therefore, I'm going to pick currency. And here in the notes, I'm going to type hourly rate charged by a company to its clients. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to switch, save it and switch over to the datasheet view. And again, just like I did before, I'm going to enter a couple of records here. So first name, let's see, John Smith. John Smith social security number, and you can see as I click, the template shows up. That's my input mask. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. His position is, for example, he's just a consultant. Okay. And you can see that my billing rate already has dollars and cents, right? That's because when I designed this table, I chose this specific column to contain the currency data type, right? So he is getting charged, he is charging $100 an hour to the client that he's working for, right? And as I hit enter, the new line is activated, so this line is committed. So number 2, Jane Doe, first name Jane Doe, and her social security number is going to be 987654321. Okay. She is a manager, so therefore company charges $200 an hour for her. So as I hit enter, you can see that next line is activated. So I have 2 records committed to the memory recorded in my database. Okay, I'm going to save that and close it. All right, another table that I have in my ER diagram is work completed. Client ID, employee ID, and work date are 3 parts of my combined primary key. And then I have also work description field, what kind of work was done, and also hours worked. So let's create this table. And just like as before, to create a table, I click on the tab Create, and I look into the group of buttons that are named Tables. So I want to create a table. That is my datasheet view for new table that shows up in the group of objects tables. So I want to switch that over to the design form, and I'm going to call it work underscore. That's important, right? That we don't use spaces between names, separate words in the name of table or column, whatever that is. Instead of space, we need to use an underscore. So work underscore completed, and I click OK. And according to my database table schema, first thing is I have client underscore ID, employee underscore ID. Now the reason why I have underscore is because this is a junction table as we discussed in class. So therefore, primary key from clients should be placed into work completed as a foreign key, and therefore it has an underscore. Employee ID from a table employee should be also placed in the table work completed, also as a foreign key. So therefore, in both of these columns, I have an underscore between client and ID and employee and ID. So let's go ahead and do that. So my number one is going to be client underscore ID. Now, this table, in this table for my primary keys, I should not have an auto number. Why? The reason is very simple. Client ID is not a primary key by itself. It's actually a foreign key that was brought into the table work completed from the table clients. And as we discussed in class, foreign keys, they don't have this limitation. In other words, they don't have to be unique, because I may have more than one occasion when I'm working for the same client on different dates, for example. So same client ID, I will see more than once in the table work completed. And the same consideration applies to the table employees. Every employee will work for clients on more than one occasion. So therefore, I'm going to have more than one record with the same employee ID. And if I leave them as auto number, that would impose a restriction. All of them have to be unique. So instead of auto number here, I'm going to pick just a number. And here I'm going to leave a comment, foreign key from table clients. All right. I'm going to do the same thing with the second line, employee underscore ID, and by the same argument, it's not an auto number, it is a number. So it's going to be also foreign key from table employees. Next one, I believe, was work underscore date. So we need to keep underscore. Remember that? All right. Now work date, naturally, out of all these possible different data types, I want work date to hold date or time, right? So this is my format or data type that I will choose. Okay, let's keep going. I believe we have two more. Work description and hours worked. Okay, work description. Work underscore description. Work description is a short text. For example, I can go ahead and post in this table, like for example, my employee number is 01, went to work on the client, number is 01 today. And in this field work description, I'm going to put a short note, what kind of work they performed. So I'm going to keep it as a short text. Okay. Now the last one was hours worked. Hours underscore worked. Okay, and hours worked naturally is a number, right? So I'm going to put it as a number right there. That's self-explanatory, so I'm not going to have any descriptor over here. The only thing that I need to do with my table now is a primary key. I need to modify it, right? So let's go back to our entity relationship diagram. Table work completed has a combined primary key, right? That consists of client ID, employee ID, and the work date. Right now, what happens in my Access file is I have only one column that forms a primary key. That would be a client ID. How do I change that? Very simple, actually. I click on the table, on the row selector to highlight the entire row. I click on the client ID, and then I keep my mouse clicked. I drag it down a couple of lines. So therefore, I'm selecting 3 lines that I'm planning to make a combined primary key, right? And after that, here is the button with the key image on it, primary key. If I click on that button, then I can see 3 different icons, 3 little images of the key on all 3 of my lines. So I'm going to click save, and that is my storage pretty much. So now I have 3 tables: clients, employees, work completed. The only thing I didn't do yet is I didn't fill it, this new table work completed with dummy data, and also these links that I can see on my ER diagrams. I created these rectangles, right? I created these tables, but I did not link them yet. So there are no linkages between them. This part I'm going to address in the next part of this tutorial, part number 3. So at that point you should save the work on your flash drive and click on part number 3, watch part number 3 of this tutorial. Okay.